Good morning, and once again, welcome to the next of our 365 short Bible studies, which are introducing us to the different ways that the people who wrote the Bible expressed themselves and their faith. We're continuing with our series of readings about the biblical writers' understanding of nature and how they used nature to teach us about our relationship with the world and with God. And today we come to that reading from St. John's Gospel, which talks about our organic relationship with him. I am the vine, you are the branches. This is John chapter 15 and only one verse today, verse 5. I am the vine, you the branches. Those who abide in me, and I in them, they bear much fruit. For apart from me, you are able to do nothing. One of the most organic and startling images from New Testament times, the metaphor of vine and branches, originated back in Old Testament times, and it is repurposed by Jesus. But for him, this is a much more personal thing. Back on day 37, we saw the young Isaiah likening God to a farmer creating a walled vineyard, the vines of which produced only sour grapes, standing for an underperforming nation. Now, this simile would have been familiar to Jesus, as it is repeated several times in the Old Testament. You might want to look up the more familiar places, such as in the book of Job, chapter 15, verses 28 to 33, or in Psalm 80, verses 8 onwards. And when you look at Jeremiah chapter 6, verses 9 to 11, you find it there too. What started as a metaphor for the nation in the Old Testament and its disappointing performance is, however, changed by Christ. He changes it into a new and much more positive image. He describes the relationship of the individual Christian to himself. Although we are not perfect, it is the gift of God to the unworthy that, imperfect as we are, Christ incorporates us into his own body. This is symbolized in Holy Communion, when, as St. Paul says, we celebrate ourselves as the body of Christ. And here in this reading from St. John's Gospel, near the end of the 1st century, we have St. John expressing the same belief in the renewed vision of the vine. I am the vine, you the branches. Whenever we do God's will, we are Christ's hands, Christ's voice, because we are in him and he is in us, doing his will. Well, tomorrow we have a brief visit with St. Paul, who quotes for us an ancient Christian lyric, placing Jesus Christ at the heart of God's creative act. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.